Welcome to Hockey Wiz Talks podcast. In this podcast, I preview the 2024 Stanley Cup Finals, and I tell you about the final schedule as well. In this podcast, I will be previewing the 2024 Stanley Cup Finals, talk about some important stats heading into the finals, and the NHL Finals Schedule. The Florida Panthers finished the season with a 52-24-6 record for 110 points in the regular season, then went on to defeat the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-1 in the first round, the Boston Bruins 4-2 in the second round, and the New York Rangers 4-2 in the conference finals. The Edmonton Oilers finished the season with a 49-27-6 record for 104 points in the regular season, then defeated the LA Kings 4-1 in the first round, the Vancouver Canucks 4-3 in the second round, and the Dallas Stars 4-2 in the conference finals. This sets up a Stanley Cup Finals between the Eastern Conference champions Florida Panthers and the Western Conference champions Edmonton Oilers. This year's Stanley Cup Finals will feature the Florida Panthers of the Eastern Conference and the Edmonton Oilers of the Western Conference in this best-of-7 series, which starts on Saturday at Amerant Bank Arena. This is the first ever playoff matchup between these two teams, and this year's Stanley Cup Finals marks the first postseason matchup between the Oilers and Panthers. The Edmonton Oilers and Florida Panthers are set to face off in the 2024 Stanley Cup Finals, marking a highly anticipated showdown between two of the NHL's top teams. During the regular season, the Panthers had the edge over the Oilers, winning both matchups. Florida outscored Edmonton 10-4 in the season series, although it should be noted both matchups occurred very early on in the season before New Year's, so the teams that played then are vastly different. Here are the key players for the two teams. Key forwards for Florida: Alexander Barkov, Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Reinhart, Vladimir Tarasenko, Carter Verhaeghe, Sam Reinhart, and Anton Lundell. Key defensemen: Aaron Ekblad, Brandon Montour, and Gustav Forsling. The X factor for Florida is Evan Rodriguez. Key forwards for Edmonton: Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and Zach Hyman. Key defensemen: Evan Bouchard, Matthias Ekholm, and Darnell Nurse. The X factor for Edmonton is Adam Henrique. The goalie matchup in this series is Sergei Bobrovsky for Florida against Stuart Skinner for Edmonton. The 2024 Stanley Cup Finals between the Edmonton Oilers and Florida Panthers is a highly anticipated matchup featuring two of the NHL's best teams. The Oilers, led by superstars Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, possess a dynamic offense and have shown improvement on defense this season. The Panthers, on the other hand, are led by the strong goaltending from Sergei Bobrovsky and key contributions from players such as Matthew Tkachuk and Alexander Barkov, who have been dominant throughout the playoffs. Connor McDavid has been a man on a mission. However, the Florida Panthers have been a team on a mission. Their paths collide when McDavid and his Oilers take on Matthew Tkachuk and the Panthers in a winner-take-all matchup in the Stanley Cup Finals. And now a word from our sponsor. Check out my scouting blog at hockeywiz777scouting.com. Listen to my scouting blog podcast on podcasters.spotify.com/pod/show/hockeywiz777scouting. For Connor McDavid, this will be his first Stanley Cup final appearance after 9 seasons in the NHL. Together alongside Leon Draisaitl, McDavid has been driving Edmonton during its Stanley Cup run. For Edmonton, this is their first final appearance since 2006, and they are looking for their first Stanley Cup win since 1990. McDavid, the Oilers captain, is a 3-time winner of the Hart Trophy, leads the Stanley Cup playoffs with 31 points in 18 games, including a goal and an assist in a 2-1 series-clinching victory against the Dallas Stars in Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. Unlike in previous years, where the Oilers mainly relied on the two-man band with McDavid and Draisaitl, the Oilers do have contributions from the supporting cast as well. In fact, the Oilers have the top 4 point scorers in the postseason, with McDavid, Draisaitl, Evan Bouchard, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, who is another longtime Oiler who has longed for a final appearance. Zach Hyman leads the NHL in postseason goals and has taken his game to another level, playing alongside McDavid, as has Evan Bouchard, who is quickly developing a reputation as one of the best offensive defensemen in the game right now. The Oilers led the NHL in goals for in the playoffs with 63, averaging 3.50 goals for per game, but they have allowed 47 goals against, which is an average of 2.61 goals against per game. Their biggest challenge is up ahead, as they will face a well-coached, well-conditioned, and well-structured Florida Panthers team who pretty much cruised through the Eastern Conference playoffs. Led by their captain, Alexander Barkov, the Florida Panthers have been determined to get back to the finals and win their first ever championship in franchise history. Last season, Florida lost in the championship to the Vegas Golden Knights, and they have been dying to get back to the finals to avenge their loss. Florida defeated the New York Rangers 2-1 in Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals last Saturday to become the first ever Stanley Cup runner-up to return to the finals the following season, since the Pittsburgh Penguins did so in 2009, and the second to do so since the Oilers in 1984. The Panthers may not have two megastar level players like the Oilers do, but they do have 4 really efficient offensive lines and 3 good D pairs. This could go a long way in the playoffs, as they are a team that can truly play a complete 60 minutes and come at opponents with relentless offensive zone pressure. That's not to say that Florida doesn't have some talent in their lineup, as they do have 3-point per game players with Matthew Tkachuk, Alexander Barkov, and Carter Verhaeghe. Aaron Ekblad and Gustav Forsling will have the tall task of matching up against Connor McDavid's line, but fortunately, they will also have the support of arguably the best two-way center in the game, Alexander Barkov. The Florida Panthers have the second most goals for in the playoffs with 55, averaging 3.24 goals per game, and have simultaneously been the best defensive team as well, an average of 2.29 goals against per game. Florida leads the league in shots per game in the postseason, averaging 33.2 shots per game, whereas the Oilers are averaging 28.9 shots per game. Defensively, Florida has allowed just 24.5 shots against per game versus the Oilers, who have allowed just 25.0 shots against per game. The goaltending matchup in the series is Sergei Bobrovsky for the Florida Panthers, who is having another stellar postseason going up against Stuart Skinner of the Edmonton Oilers, who has had his postseason struggles, but has recently seemed to find his groove once again. The Florida Panthers are definitely the better team 5-on-5. However, where the Oilers do hold a significant advantage is on special teams, as Edmonton has the league's best power play, operating at 37.3%, and also have the best PK in the league at 93.9%. The Florida Panthers will have to play physical, but they will have to be careful not to take penalties, because the Edmonton Oilers do have a historic all-time great power play. The Florida Panthers will win if they can wear down the Oilers with its forecheck, keep McDavid and Draisaitl in check, and stay out of the box. The Edmonton Oilers win if Stuart Skinner can maintain his level of play from games 5 and 6 of the conference finals. McDavid and Draisaitl are the 2 best players in the series, and the Panthers take undisciplined penalties. My prediction is that the Edmonton Oilers win the series in 6 games. Check out my hockey blog at hockeywiztalkshockey.blogspot.com. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at hockeywiz777. The leading scorers for the Edmonton Oilers are Connor McDavid, who has 31 points, Leon Draisaitl with 28 points, Evan Bouchard with 27 points, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with 20 points, and Zach Hyman with 18 points. The leading point scorer for the Florida Panthers is Matthew Tkachuk with 19 points. Alexander Barkov and Carter Verhaeghe both have 17 points. Anton Lundell and Sam Reinhart both have 12 points, and Gustav Forsling has 11 points. The leading goal scorer for the Edmonton Oilers is Zach Hyman with 14. Leon Draisaitl has 10 goals. Evan Bouchard and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins both have 6 goals apiece, and Connor McDavid has 5 goals. Carter Verhaeghe leads the Florida Panthers in goals with 9. Sam Reinhart has 8 goals. Alexander Barkov and Sam Bennett have 6 goals apiece, and Matthew Tkachuk has 5 goals. Connor McDavid leads the Oilers in assists with 26. Evan Bouchard has 21. Leon Draisaitl has 18, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has 14. Matthew Tkachuk leads the Florida Panthers in assists with 14. Alexander Barkov has 11. Anton Lundell has 9, and Carter Verhaeghe has 8. Connor McDavid leads the Oilers in points per game with a 1.72 points per game average. Leon Draisaitl is next with the 1.56 points per game average. Evan Bouchard has a 1.50 points per game average. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has a 1.11 points per game average. And Zach Hyman exactly has a point per game average. Matthew Tkachuk has the highest points per game average for the Florida Panthers with a 1.12. Alexander Barkov and Carter Verhaeghe both have a point per game average. Next is Sam Bennett, who has a 0.83 points per game average in the playoffs. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl both have 14 power play points apiece. Evan Bouchard has 12 power play points. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has 9 power play points. And Zach Hyman has 5 power play points. Alexander Barkov leads the Florida Panthers in power play points with 7. Matthew Tkachuk has 6 power play points. Carter Verhaeghe and Sam Reinhart both have 5 power play points apiece. And Sam Bennett has 4 power play points. The goalie for the Florida Panthers is Sergei Bobrovsky. He has a 12-5 record in the playoffs with a 2.20 GAA and .908 save percentage with 1 shutout. Stuart Skinner is the goalie for the Edmonton Oilers. He has an 11-5 record in the playoffs with a 2.50 GAA and .897 save percentage with 1 shutout. Listen to Hockey Wiz Talks podcast on Podbean and Spotify. Check out my travel channel at youtube.com/@HockeyWizTravels. This is how the 2024 Stanley Cup Finals schedule looks like. All games will be played at 8 p.m. Eastern on ABC in the US and Sportsnet and CBC in Canada. Game 1 is played in Florida on June 8th. Game 2 is played in Florida as well on June 10th. Game 3 will be played in Edmonton on June 13th. Game 4 will be played on June 15th. If necessary, Game 5 will be back in Florida on June 18th. If necessary, there will be a Game 6 back in Edmonton on June 21st. If the series should go to a Game 7, it will be in Florida on June 24th. It'll be very interesting to watch the Stanley Cup Finals and see who wins Lord Stanley's Cup. In my next podcast, I'll update you on the Stanley Cup Finals and talk about what needs to change for both teams.